Hello, hello, friends. I am Shannon Stott, and very, very much welcome to the Pieces Collective. We are here and we're talking about keeping it moving and staying fit for life. Before we get directly into all of the wonderful panelists and the wonderful discussion that we are about to have, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. I see we have a lot of viewers. Some of you are coming in from Facebook. Some of you are coming in from YouTube. But wherever your Facebook or YouTube is, let me know. My stream is coming from Austin, Texas, and it's been dreary all day. Where are you coming from? How have you joined us today? I would love to know in the chat. Hello, Baltimore. It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got some more people from Baltimore. Baltimore is showing up in droves. Be More always shows up. Right? I feel like that. It's very true. North Carolina, if you're in North Carolina, say hello to my parents. Columbus, Ohio, hi and welcome. Washington, D.C., say hi to my sister. She's out there. Baltimore is continuing to show up. It is so just great to have everyone here. Obviously, you are here for a great conversation, and so am I. This is the Pieces Collective's Wisdom, Wealth, and Wellness Workshop. Today, we are participating in a panel discussion about how we can carve out time for ourselves, establish new routines, and balance life amidst chaos. Before we bring on the experts that will help us navigate this discussion, though, I would like to introduce the owner of Pieces Collective, whose goal it is to contribute to human development through experiential learning, economics, and education, which are the reasons that we have been brought here today. So before I move on, please welcome Ikrama Mohammed. Ikrama, welcome.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm so well. Thank you for having us all.
Good. Thank you for coming. I like to say greetings and peace be unto you. I'm Ikrama Mohammed. And before we bring on our exciting panel, I'd just like to take a few minutes to share a little bit with you about your host this evening, the Pieces Collective. We are a nonprofit. I'm not the owner of the Pieces Collective. We're a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and therefore we belong to the community and we serve the community. I am the director of the organization, and our goal is to use creativity, education, and economics to help make our communities a safe and decent place to live. We do this by providing a platform for makers to offer their handcrafted goods for sale. And then we use a portion of the proceeds to invest in community programs and projects that are in line with our goals. Due to COVID-19, the pandemic, some of our activities, like with most small businesses, has been interrupted, and we've had to adjust and adapt like all living things. And kind of switched to an online world. So we developed our website, thepiecescollective.org, and there you'll be able to see all of the beautiful handmade products like handmade bags, jewelry, soaps, and other accessories created primarily by makers local to the Baltimore metropolitan area. Shout out to Baltimore. On November 1st, we'll launch our fall and winter showcase which is the joy of making, and we're excited about that. So we want you to visit our website and see the new creations and beautiful designs that we have to offer, and support by either purchasing, donating, or helping to spread the word. So one of the programs that we were able to continue is our monthly Wisdom, Wellness, and Wealth program, like the one you're attending this evening. The goal of Wisdom, Wellness, and Wealth is to inform and increase awareness around issues that affect our collective well-being and help build community. Tonight, we have a panel of experts who have committed themselves to disciplines that help contribute to the overall health and wellness. Keep it moving, stay fit for life. When I hear that, I hear it two different ways. Of course, the first way is the physical, in terms of, exercise, weight loss, your blood pressure, the BMI, and that type of thing. But the other way I hear it is be fit for life, being able to live life fully in your purpose, understand it, contribute to humanity, which is more mental and spiritual aspect. Because life poses challenges. For nearly 2 years now, we've been confronted with a specific threat to our health and well-being. Constant discussions about death and illness, concerns about our immune system, terms like quarantine, social distance, and underlying conditions prevail. We may have feelings of fear, loss, and isolation. And movement has in some ways come to a stop. We may respond to these things in different ways based on whatever resources we have. And in some ways, it may have even brought us closer, motivated us to be more mindful and to concentrate on the things that are really important to us. But we still have to live. And any dreams we have, goals we want to accomplish, contributions we want to make to our families and communities will be impacted by our health, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So like when I was younger, I played racquetball every day. I skied and I was very active physically. And as I've gotten older, I've chosen to adjust my movement and activities to things more my speed now, like walking, yoga, gardening, which is an excellent movement and physical activity, meditation. So tonight's panel will offer you their experience and options and practices that can help continue our movement and continue our fitness throughout our lifespan. So let's keep it moving and stay fit for life. I thank you all very, very much for attending and supporting, and I pray you enjoy and benefit. Peace and love.
Thank you, Ikrama. All right. Like Ikrama said, we have lots of people here that are here to do exactly what we are here to do, which is have a conversation. The Pieces Collective reminds us that we came and we come from a community with a history of using our bodies and our minds, but maybe not caring for our bodies and our minds. We have to find ways to care for ourselves so that we may continue creating, working, and living. Here to guide us through this discussion are some talented and knowledgeable people. We have Reverend Dr. E. Faith Bell, who has over 30 years of fitness experience. She has taught for profit and for the Fit with Faith LLC, and was a former contractor to military bases in Europe and nonprofit organizations locally, nationally, and internationally. Her aim is to give you the best quality instruction to enable you to be your best you. Welcome, Faith.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about being here.
We're excited to have you. We also have Audrey Muhammad, who is a writer, educator, fitness instructor, and inspirational speaker who believes women are the epitome of beauty, class, and intelligence. As a fitness enthusiast and instructor, she has authored 2 books and 1 audiobook dealing with fitness and spiritual health. Her book titles include Get Fit to Live, Be Your Best You, The Sister's Guide to Fitness, and Get Fit to Live audiobook. She encourages women to be your best you because everyone wasn't meant to be a size 2. Welcome, Audrey.
Thank you. Peace and blessings, everyone. It's an honor to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. We also have Charlene Marie Mohammed, who is a traditional healing practitioner who focuses on supporting clients with a practical application to optimal health by using the healing tools that she has grown to embrace in her own personal life. That's herbal medicine, nutrition, and yoga. Charlene is also an early childhood educator and childbirth doula. A graduate of Cornell University, Charlene holds a master's of science degree in herbal medicine from Maryland University of Integrative Health and is a licensed dietitian. Welcome, Charlene.
Sorry,
Excellent.
greetings.
It's always good
It's
to
an
have
honor
you.
to be
We're going
here.
to get it. We're making it happen.
Thank you.
We're also introducing Will Myers Jr., who has been a certified personal trainer and licensed massage therapist for the last 15 years. He specializes in helping professionals achieve optimal health without spending hours in the gym or struggling to adopt a difficult diet. His program teaches you how to be effective in your nutrition, strength, cardio, flexibility, and most importantly, mentality. Will knows everyone learns differently and uses multiple techniques to cater to each member of his team. Welcome, Will.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate
We
it.
are glad to have you. We're glad to have everyone. And we also have Jana Long. Jana Long is the executive director of the Black Yoga Teachers Alliance, BYTA, an organization she co founded to offer a space for Black yoga teachers to find support and community. Jana is an experienced yoga therapist and educator with experience as a meditation facilitator, master gardener, and mentor. Her primary focus is the therapeutic application of yoga to inspire and empower people 60 years and older to cultivate peace of mind. Thank you for being here, Jana.
Let's see. Am I unmuted? Yes.
No, we can hear you.
I'm
We
surprised I'm
can,
unmuted.
you
It's
got
great to
it. We
be
can
here. Thank you for having me.
You're so very welcome. So, we're going to start off this discussion, and we are going to start with a question for everyone. This is even the people that we can see and the people that we cannot see. So, those of you who are tuning in from Baltimore and Washington, D.C., and Columbus, Ohio, please put your answers in the chat so we can see what it is that you've done today. This is the question. What's one beneficial thing you did for your mind and body today? What's one beneficial thing you did for your mind and body today? Will, I see you nodding already. So while people are putting things in the chat, go ahead and let us know. And then when you answer, you can ask one of the other panelists what's something they did.
Okay. I was nodding right away because I make it a personal, at first it was tough, but now I make it a thing I have to do every day, and it's every morning, and I meditate. I bet there's going to be a bunch in the chat there, and if there isn't, we should hopefully see some. Think about it, because that meditation, it gives you that, and it's not a long time. It's 15 minutes or so. You know, I finish the dog walk, I could get some water, big glass of water, and I just sit. Personally, I like to sit out on my porch and just kind of look out and just think, and sometimes close my eyes. Sometimes I do think about what's on the calendar. You know, I'm human. Like sometimes I just can't get that out of my mind, but I need to take that moment just to process it. And it really sets up my day. So I'm spending the first crucial moments of the day just figuring out what's really on my mind and addressing that, you know, because I don't want it to, if it is an issue, I want to address it and move forward with it.
Right.
But I would love to hear. Let's see, Miss John, what do you think?
I make it a habit every day to make sure that I get the appropriate amount of rest that I need. That means that I don't push myself to stay up late. I try to go to bed and get up on the same day. And so that means I'm in bed by midnight at the latest and up with the sunrise. And that supports my health and well-being.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can hear from one other person, or everyone else. Who else haven't we heard from? Let's see.
Charlene.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did reflections. A couple of years ago, I'll say a couple of years ago, I had my youngest child. And so this would be his birthday on today. So it was a time of reflection of things in the past that have been so successful and instrumental in making me who I am now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Audrey, what do you have to add?
Oh, I always do my workout in the morning to feel accomplished, that I do something for myself, that I take time out for myself. So did a little bit of combination of light resistance training and rode the bike for 20 minutes while I was in a work meeting. So, but getting that workout in just sets the tone for the day for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Charlene?
I start my day with a daily devotion. So I get up in the morning and I greet the day and I have my prayer. And then I do maybe a 10 or 15-minute yoga vinyasa flow to get my muscles moving, right? Because as we're getting into those seasoned years, getting out of the bed sometimes feels like this. So once I go through my prayer service, I take about 15 minutes to go what we call a yoga flow or yoga vinyasa, so that I'm moving all of the major muscle groups in my body, gets all the kinks out, and gets that spinal fluid moving.
Excellent. So people are really listening. We've had exercises as far as what people have done today, exercising, working in the garden, prayer first, healthy drink before work. Prayer first is a good one. Took a nap. I love this take a nap. As far as self-care, as far as exercise goes, there are many ways to make sure that your body is aligned. And I'm wondering if you could all just start us off talking a little bit about that, the multi-dimensional approach to fitness, right? When we talk fitness, we're not just talking about the physical, and Ikrama said that as well. We're not just talking about the physical aspect, we're also talking about the mental aspect. So can you all just talk to us about how your physical body and your mental body are both things that we need to keep healthy?
I'll make a comment. I'll start off. How important it is to have a peace of mind and have your thoughts harmonize with your actions. And so, if I want to, show love for, people, of course, they walk their dog, their animals. You got to take time for yourself also, and in conjunction, you are doing that when you're helping out. But it's so important that there's a harmony with your mind and body. So getting up, prayer is an exercise, getting up and making that a habit. So I think that when we look at it as part of our way of life and not just something I'm forced to do, but just like, okay, you got to brush your teeth, you got to do this, you got to do that, how important it is to have harmony and peace in your body, with having your mind at ease and not stressed, because the different types of exercise does help to relieve that. I think it helps your mind and your spirit be in harmony with one another.
Absolutely. I want to emphasize this harmony that you're talking about and let the audience know that one part of this balance of the conversation that we're having today is you sitting there and watching this conversation, but the other part is you participating, right? So we do have the chat that you're participating in, but later we have Jana and Faith who will be leading us in some exercises as far as exercise physically and exercise mentally. So be just thinking about if you want to join, because this harmony takes everyone that we're talking about. And I'm going to give it over to Faith because I feel like you were leaning in to talk about this harmony part. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that if we don't, okay, we call it a tripod, right? So we talk about the spirit, we talk about the soul, we talk about the physical. And if one is off, then everything else is off balance. It's like having a stool with three legs on it and having one taken out, and then you're going to constantly be teetering back and forth. One of the things that I think all of us do around the spectrum right now is to talk about being holistic in our approach. And so the first thing that we do is when you come in is how do you feel? Because if you're not feeling it mentally, you're not going to get in it any other way. You can rev yourself up. You can get yourself, going in, but you've got to start off with a mindset that says, okay, I'm really going to do this. And later on, I'm sure we're going to talk about the theoretical model, which, talks about the 5 stages of where are you on this road? Am I just thinking about it? And I'm going to throw that to Jana when I get to that point. But the fact is, you have to be in concert with yourself. If you come in with a burden, then how do you want to lift that burden? You want to lift that burden by thinking good things, thinking good thoughts. As Charlene was saying, thinking positive and getting in that flow of things. And don't force yourself to do it. You guys can cut me off at any time. But when we asked you how you feel, don't think you have to do it because we're here trying to instruct you. You do it because your body's telling you, this is what I need right now. And if you don't want to do heavy lifting, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm done.
Yeah, Jana. I feel like I'm hearing some like mm-hms from Jana. Jana, here.
I like to just get up every day. I make sure I go outside. I try to get up with the sun because it's a very special time of day. And that's the reason for making sure I get enough rest and that I wake up naturally, not with an alarm clock, but because I'm rested. And often, even before I put my clothes on, I have a cat. I step out on my front porch just to get in a deep breath of fresh air. And especially now because I'll speak for myself. I've been inside more this past year and a half than I can't even remember the last time I was inside so much. And so I make it a habit, even if it's just walking around my house, walking around the block, to get out every day, or just sitting on the front porch to make sure that I get fresh air into my lungs every day. That's very important. Get outside.
That's right.
There's I would love Will and Charlene to jump in here and start to talk a little bit about because what you said, Jana, what you mentioned was getting a breath of fresh air. And I know that breathing is a huge thing when it comes to high impact exercise and when it comes to things like yoga. Can all of you talk about breathing and how it's almost an exercise unto itself?
You want to go first, Bill?
No, please lead the way.
The breath, our connection to the breath is really our connection to spirit and life itself. There's nothing that's closer to us than that. We can live without food. We can sustain ourselves for a short period of time without water, but we can't go very long without the breath. And the breath is our connection to spirit. So in a yoga practice, we call that pranayama, and prana is that life force, and that's the connection. And so in order to really tune back into who we are and our soul and our being, we have to connect back to the breath. And will share this with you. Any beginning meditation practice, the focus is on the breath. And why? Because that's the closest thing that we have to the life force itself. It is the life force itself. And when you can actually appreciate the breath, it's something we absolutely take for granted. And however, the breath sustains us, and our breath is the rhythm of the earth. It follows that pattern. If you're watching the ocean, which is why we're all drawn to it, That ebb and flow of the ocean is the ebb and flow of our breath. We inhale, we pause. Naturally, we exhale and we pause. It's a natural rhythm. It's the natural rhythm of childbirth itself. Any of these ladies who've gone through labor and delivery, you know that rhythm and that flow is the breath. That's the importance of it. And so, any stillness that we want, any peace of mind that we want, always begins by coming back to the source of our life, which is our breath.
That's beautiful. I think about the flow so much when you describe that. You know, and it is on a meditation side. And for any of those who are wondering, well, what about on an exercise side? What about when I've gotten into my workout? And we got to think about, and if you don't know the relationship and where it comes from, when we talk about cardio or aerobics or speaking on the breath, we're talking about the relationship of the heart and the lungs. And so the process of all this oxygen around us, we take it in through the lungs, of course, and the lungs then actually send it to the heart. And what the heart then does is it oxygenates your blood, and then its job is to pump that oxygenated blood to all of the muscles that need it and organs and everything. So if you're ever working out and you feel that burn, you know, like you do a set and then all of a sudden your muscles are burning, you're like, ooh, I feel that. That's the lactic acid, right? Yeah, I got a couple, right? That's lactic acid. And the only way to get that out is oxygen, actually. You got to get oxygen into that muscle. And so hydration is important. It's very important, but oxygen is key. And so when you're building your cardio and when you're doing aerobic type activities, think about that. Like you're strengthening your entire system through the relationship of your heart and lungs. You're effectively getting oxygen to every cell and every muscle fiber that needs it so that there's no point where your muscles are starving for that. And it really helps in meditation. It will help in your drive to work. It'll help in your workout, and you're breathing when you're sleeping. So it's always, I hope you're breathing when you're sleeping. It's always something that needs to be in action and in motion and flowing in order for us to even survive and operate in the first place.
And you know,
So, Will, if I could jump on to the one thing that when you're seeing your exercise leader, your fitness instructor saying, breathe. The worst thing you can do is don't hold your breath. Breathe. But we have a tendency to restrict ourselves by, holding it in. No, you got to do that. And especially when you're trying to build muscle, when you're trying to make sure you can go to the next level, you've got to take it in and to exhale properly. And a lot of times that's why we're talking to you, like, how you feeling? Make sure you don't pass out, don't hold it, don't do this. And so I think both of you have been great in explaining it.
And just to that point, Faith, what I find that when we have a tendency to hold the breath is because we're trying to intellectualize what the body is
Good
doing.
Point. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Is that flow again? Absolutely.
There's a flow.
Yeah.
the powerful thing about the breath, in that moment, you take in a breath, and there's a moment of pause where, as Will was saying, you've taken in the oxygen, but in that moment of pause, that oxygen, you no longer are exhaling oxygen. You're exhaling carbon dioxide.
Good
So
point.
just in that I don't even know how to describe that moment as so small that that exchange of gases takes place. And then what's so beautiful about it is what you exhale is what the trees and the plants and the nature around us needs. They bring in the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, and expel or expire, exhale oxygen. We breathe in oxygen and we exhale the carbon dioxide. So it shows the symbiotic relationship of us as part of the greater cosmos, the earth itself, that it's a unit and one is dependent on the other. There's an expression that when the last tree is gone, so will the last man be gone, or last woman, the last human. We cannot exist without each other through that prana life force for both.
So I want to take this. You, Jenna, you did this wonderful transition where you came out, right? You really focused out into the universe and the balance that us as small, like tiny humans, have on the universe. And now I want to bring it back where it's like we're breathing, right? We're going in and out, we're focusing in and out. I want all of you to talk about the different impact and purpose of having a balance of different types of exercises. So, aerobic exercises, strength training, stretching, and things like yoga and meditation. When you do those things, how are we keeping our bodies in balance? What do those different types of exercise have? How do those different types of exercises impact our bodies and minds?
I would like to say that it wasn't something that I appreciated before, because I was like, I'm not getting a workout if I'm just holding my arms and I'm just still. What kind of workout is that? Yoga. I would go into a yoga class for like 10 minutes and I'm like, I can't stand this, you know. But now I appreciate it more and see the impact that it's had on me, because I would always be going and not realizing how I was holding this tension. And I remember being at an event one time and my sister said, just breathe. And I didn't realize. She said, what? I said, I'm not. She said, you're so tense. I said, no, I'm not tense. And she came behind me and went like this. And I just breathed out, and I was like, I didn't realize my shoulders were up to my ears, and then just so that's like, so it's a trigger word now. I'll just tell myself sometimes breathe, but I have incorporated yoga, tai chi at the end of my kickboxing workouts, my Zumba workouts as a cool down. And people love it because we're going, and then we get a chance to re-energize. And that balance of not just going, but having a moment of gratitude. And I'll give them different things to think about as we're doing these stretches. But people feel, instead of just exhausted at the end, they feel re-energized. So I see that now as a wonderful balance in a workout, to have a cool down that has some yoga, tai chi moves in it. So I appreciate that now more. Just wanted to share that.
From a physiological perspective, the body, needs to have certain movements in order for it to grow and sustain, right? We need that weight bearing exercises that build your bones. Okay. It keeps your bones growing, right? The muscles as well, they need to be toned and stretched. If we're just working them in one direction, then they don't get the full value and benefit of what they are. I also like to look at it like nature itself. So just if you want to take it from an esoteric or spiritual perspective, the earth goes through 4 seasons, right? And in its 4 seasons, we have this very active time, which we think of as the summer, right? And then we come into the fruits of our labor in the fall. But then there's an introspective time, right? And so we're in the nature of the day. The whole course of the day is like that too. We have more active times of the day, and then we have more quiet times of the day. And so we're just tuning into nature. Then we want our bodies to have that same experience and not necessarily just do one particular aspect. And it also follows our life cycle, the lifespan of ourselves. So as in our youth, we might be really active. And then as we come into our season time, as I like to call it, we need a little, we might not need so much of that more active time. But basically, the physiologically speaking, the body needs all aspects. We need, just as Will was saying, we need those cardio, we need that high impact. That's what builds our bones as well. And then our muscles need to be stretched and toned and not just contracted all the time.
Well, and if I can jump on, Charlene, the physiological aspect as well is that our bodies are so intelligent. They're intelligent enough till they adapt to a certain style. And the adaptation means that you have to, as we often say, trick them to let them know, I really want to build, I want to do something else, I want to lose weight. So you have to have multidimensional ways of looking at things, as well as muscle toning. And please don't anybody who's listening, not these educators right here, it's not lengthening. It is what we're saying. We're stretching our muscles. So you're not lengthening anything. You're just stretching them out. But you want to make sure that what you're doing is you're going through every aspect, and it's different ways. I mean, if you're going after strength, you most of the time what you're going to do is you're going to change up what body parts you're going to use. So one day you're doing one day it's multiple ways of doing it. You also may decide that what you're going to do is cardio one day, you're going to do yoga the next day, you're going to do strength training the next day. You try to lift up your body in the way that you know is functional. So when we talk about functional, be satisfied with just the fact that I fell down, I want to learn how to get up. And that's what I need to do at this stage in life, right, Charlene? And so if you say another thing about this stage in life, I'm coming through this airway. Because things have changed so much with people saying it's really not your age, and a lot of different times it's how you feel, because we got so many baby boomers who are doing things that they couldn't do when they were 20 and 30 years old. But you want to look at it. So Shannon, what I want to express to a lot of people is the fact that do everything. And I love what Audrey was saying, because I'm an ISTJ and I'm a fast pacer. So when people come to me, a lot of times in my church, they say, I'm not going to her class because she's going to kill you. And I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to find out where you are and bring you up. But I used to be fast paced as well. As a matter of fact, when I took yoga, don't ask me to lay down at the end of the class. Okay. I just can't stay still for anything. But I learned it was the best thing to do to completely defog my mind from everything else. So physiologically, you need to move it. And then the other thing is you got to have fun. If you're doing the same thing all the time, it is so boring. I'm sorry. And I'm done.
You know what I find with so much of the movement. I'm in my 7th decade now, and you know what I did in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even does not serve me now, and I don't feel bad. I feel good in the body that I'm living in now. But one of the things that I think all of that movement does is it makes it so that people really don't know how to relax. And I mean, really relax. See, you can be sitting down or you can be laying down, you can even be asleep, and you're not relaxed.
True.
The art of relaxation, because the body, in order for a body to be well, in order for a body to heal, requires rest. That's why we go to sleep every night. That is the opportunity for the body to restore itself is when we're sleeping. So if you can carry a sense and a state of relaxation throughout the day, no matter what you're doing, that you are relaxed in your body, even when you're doing your high impact exercises or when you're practicing yoga. When people are practicing yoga, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily relaxed.
Right.
And that's something I've observed watching people practicing and doing different exercises. You can see the people that are not relaxed, the inability. And without that, there's usually going to be some chronic or acute condition of the body or mind that needs to be managed. Learning to getting the rest, being able to be relaxed. And in our culture, you know, the value is on doing, 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 doing. That's what we're geared to do. You feel guilty if you're not doing, 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 doing. And then when it's time to relax, the body isn't trained to do it. You have to teach yourself how to relax.
That's
Very
right.
important.
I want you said, Janet, you said the word relax a lot. Okay. You said it a lot of times because it's important. And I would actually like all of you to start talking about rest, right? What it actually, I asked a friend recently, is he getting rest? And he said, well, I'm sleeping a lot. And I said, I feel like there's a
Mm.
difference between sleeping and
Mhm.
rest. Okay. So I'd love you to talk about that. And you touched on it, Janet. You said you'll start to see chronic, without relaxing, without rest, you'll start to see chronic pain, injury, and unwellness. And I would love all of you to talk about the benefits of exercise and relaxation and rest on the immune system.
Mm,
Especially right
excellent.
now.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially right now. I think you got to think of how you detox. You know, we were just
Mm,
speaking on taking in oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. We'll also think about that on an energetic base, and then also think about that on what's just sitting in the system from the foods we're eating, the
mhm,
toxins that are in the air that we breathe that we don't have an option on. Think about the soil that's not as rich as it used to be, so we don't have the same nutrients in our vegetables anymore. So it really is an opportunity to detox the body. And, you know, sometimes body smells when it gets sweaty,
mhm,
right? Like
Mhm.
mhm,
something's coming out. That's good. That's
mhm,
if it
mhm,
smells, it's bacteria. You know, that's it's coming out for a reason. So it's a good thing. It's a good reason,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
If that helps there.
Yes, rest is something I know I struggle with sometimes, and but I can tell the difference when I do get a really good night's sleep. And there's a really good book by Sean Stevenson called Sleep Smarter, and he talks about how, of course, proper rest does boost your immune system. I remember I would travel out of town and for a conference once a year, and I would always get sick after the conference because it was going all that time, then getting on a plane at 5 a.m. The next day, and then I would try to go to work, and I would be tired, and next thing you know, I'm sick for a couple of days. So getting the proper rest, and that's what this pandemic has taught me to do. If I stayed up too late doing whatever, then I'm going to take that extra hour to make sure I get that rest. And then just taking a moment to in the morning of gratitude and just breathing in, taking 10 breaths in and out. But that's like a missing piece. If we don't get enough rest, also it messes up with our metabolism. And but when you get the proper rest, your metabolism can be where it needs to be, and your immune system, so on and so forth. But that was something that sometimes it can be a missing piece that we're not looking at proper rest because we're such a caffeinated, society that if we don't, we compensate with, okay, let me have some more coffee because I know that was something that I would do.
You know, it's really interesting that I had a conversation with somebody recently about daylight savings time, and
Mm,
she was under the impression that it was we follow daylight savings time for agriculture, which is not true. You can Google it yourself. Daylight savings time was really to keep us working, okay, as well as shopping. So becoming, consumers. That was the purpose of it.
mhm,
And that's probably one of the biggest disconnects we have in our Western culture is that we don't follow the natural flow of the day. And I am a person that, we're going to go later than my bedtime today because I'm like Jan. I'm an early to bed person because I'm an early riser. Following the natural flow of time, there is a nighttime which is resting, and we have giving the value of sleep for rejuvenation,
mhm,
restoration, and detoxification. That detoxification time in the body where we say that where the liver is synthesizing us is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And if we're up eating between 10 and 2, then the body never gets to use that detoxification time. And when your body doesn't rest, when you're ever rejuvenating because it's still working to digest food, then it's impossible to say that you're going to wake up and feel rested. So currently we're living a little contrary, staying up all night and then getting 2 hours of sleep and then trying to work all day and stay up all night. You know,
And that used to be my claim to fame. I used to blame it on my mother that, 4 hours, I'm good, and I could function. And I mean, I did it my entire career, to be honest with you. And like I told you guys, I'm a very statistical person. So it wasn't until I found, and I was trying to look it up, so I could, haven't done it in a while, so I could let you know what the facts were. But when I found out that I was losing brain cells because I wasn't sleeping, and you can regenerate them just as easily sometimes, is my understanding from the statistical study, if you learn how to sleep and rest. And so that kicked me in the behind, to be honest with you, to think, oh my God, here I think I'm so intelligent, but I'm losing all of my brain cells by not sleeping at nighttime, and I'm not getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And there is a reason that we look at the scientific approach to our bodily functions. And just the fact, if you don't want to think about anything else, think about you're losing brain cells simply by not resting and sleeping effectively. And I hear you, Charlene, with the nighttime is for that purpose. But as you get older, so I'll say it myself, you might take that cat nap in the middle of the day. Don't feel bad about it. You're retired. You don't have to go to work anymore. You're going to sleep at 2 o'clock. It's okay, because your body is speaking to you. And we need to actually stop fighting our bodies, because again, they're so intelligent. They let us know exactly. Yes. Gotcha, Shannon. I'm done.
That was me. That was me supporting. I'm supporting you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
I'm not, nobody just winds you up, Faith. I'm not going to take that time from you. No. Look, so we're talking about things that we do almost without thinking about it, right? Going to sleep late, not getting enough rest, but we can easily wash those things away. Like, oh, I have to stay up to work, or I'm staying up for whatever it is.
Yeah.
Here is a thing that I would like you to talk about, because nobody wants to talk about it. But what is the effect of alcohol on our bodies right before we go to bed? Because we do know that some people are looking, we're watching, and they're saying, well, what I do is I take my glass of wine, or I take my shot of tequila. Who said that? I don't know. Whatever it is, before I go to bed, and that helps me sleep. But there's an effect on our bodies that happens. Can you all talk about the myths of alcohol, or the benefits, or just the effects of it as it pertains to our bodies and minds?
Right.
We have internal drugs. They're called hormones that make you feel. See, when you feel something, it's because a chemical is released in your bloodstream, a natural chemical in your body. Feeling sleepy is serotonin secreted from the pineal or the pituitary. I forget which gland it is. Feeling afraid, nervous, anxious, it's adrenaline secreted by your adrenal. There's releasing dopamine. I feel happy. I feel inspired. That's dopamine release. So they're natural drugs. So when you become dependent, see, you have drugs, you have substances already naturally. So then you must, when there's that's a warning, there's something out of balance. If you must introduce an external substance to help you do something that should be natural, like sleeping, right? So if that were, yeah, I'm gonna knock back a couple shots of tequila. Yeah, well, of course you're gonna go to sleep.
Couple.
You just bombarded your system with, some 80 something proof shot of alcohol or whatever it may be. I think that's a warning sign, and that's a cue for you to look at how you're living and it doesn't mean you don't drink wine or have your shot of tequila. What I heard you say, I needed to sleep.
Mhm.
No, then something's off
So
balance
Janet,
that should be
Janet,
addressed.
can I push the envelope just a little
Sure.
bit?
Yeah.
I'm just a nutritionist coach. Okay, so I don't have the degree in it, and neither am I a doctor. So I usually always tell my clients, you got to have your doctor's notes. You need to, that. But in some cases, I think the caution that we need to draw around it, which I agree, we have become so accommodating to the fact that if we need something, we will grab it, right?
Mhm.
But we have gotten to a point where alcohol does bring the metabolism down or slows it down. Caffeine, thank you, Audrey. I'm a caffeine freak. It's gonna rev it up. When you're actually doing the exercise or fitness program, it's really going to combat one or the other, slow you down or it's going to rev you up. Either way, it's going to put you in an artificial sense, which either I'm too sluggish or I'm gonna go real fast because I'm hyped up on the caffeine. But when your doctor says a little wine for this because you've had a heart problem, I am not going to push back on that. And I don't think you are either, but I just wanted to make sure that we couched it that if your doctor is saying that there is a need for that because you have reached a point yourself where your physique or your metabolism or something is going on, I think we have to yield to that expertise and say, yeah, it might not be natural, but until I can get it right, this is what I need to do.
I've never
Please
had
push
a
back on me.
doctor prescribe that I drink alcohol, so maybe I'm in good shape because I've never had a doctor. You need to take a drink.
Well,
Just
there
never.
have been
I'm not
there
saying
there have
it
been
doesn't
hot.
happen, but I
Yeah.
have not lived that experience yet.
There have been some doctors who have certainly heart patients that have said a little wine. And biblically, for all you spiritual people out there, you're going to hop on that a little wine for the stomach's sake because it's the digestive system. So there's various reasons people do it. You're absolutely right. It is an artificial stimulant, so I'm totally agreeing with that. My only caution is, making sure that the doctor has sanctioned or not sanctioned.
Well, alcohol can be a component in certain pharmaceutical medications.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's necessarily liquor store alcohol that
I
they
agree.
putting in our cough syrups and various other medications that have alcohol as a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So I I hear what you're saying, Faith, and I don't know how I would feel about a doctor that prescribed that. I'm just saying, uh, liquor store. Like I said, it's in medications.
Uh-huh.
And those medications do help people. Well, there's the alcohol, and then there's the drug known as codeine. So,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and they
Mm-hmm.
do help people sleep, which is why you shouldn't drive after you
Mhm.
consume such pharmaceuticals. So, yeah.
What do you think about valerian root? Now, I'll put that to you and Charlene and maybe Will. Valerian root, which is a natural relaxer. What do you think? I'm not getting on anything else other than valerian root. What do
Well,
you? Because
there are many. I mean, there are many natural um what do I say?
Sedatives.
Relaxing,
sedatives.
sedative, analgesics. There's many in the herbal
Yeah.
realm or in the planetary botanical realm. There are many. And that speaks to what Jana is saying too. So most pharmaceutical drugs are synthetic, they're
Mm-hmm.
mimicking what happens naturally in nature. Uh, okay, so and then we just but when it becomes a synthetic thing, it can become more potent. Also, they may even take a botanical or a plant and extract a specific constituent that they believe is its medicine, and it becomes more potent versus having the whole plant, the energy of the whole plant. So when you're taking something like valerian, energetically speaking, that plant's purpose and its energy is for relaxation. So it's not just extracting the constituent, but it's enjoying the whole relationship of the plant itself. So I think that's the difference. And even if we are when we're going back to Shannon's question, the idea of having to have alcohol in order to fall asleep, you will fall asleep for a period of time, but you're not going to rest
Yes.
because
Right.
depending on how much you've drank and how much sugar is the content of that, then your
Mhm.
pancreas is going to be working overtime and you're going to be agitated and not rested. So
Mhm.
there's a physiological impact to that. And even in herbal medicine, Faith, there's a, I think we had this discussion when I met with your group. There's a
We did.
hierarchy of healing, right? And so even herbal medicine is up the hierarchy. Here in the West, we jump right up to allopathic medicine, and that's the most invasive. We're supposed to start at the bottom, which is what we're talking about, which is prayer, meditation, exercise, diet.
Mhm.
And then if you need a little help, you can go up to your herbal medicine. And then if you need a little help, you go up to your energetics. You're doing your Reiki and so you build.
Mhm.
But we want to jump right to, like you say, it was easier to pull off the shelf to have. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask. We have a question here that's from Tony, and Tony says, "What about apple cider vinegar instead of wine?"
For what? As a
That's
way
a
to put you to
great
sleep?
question, Charlene.
It's, apple cider vinegar is not going to put you to sleep, but it will certainly help to, alkaline your metabolism. And wine and alcohol is making your metabolism more acidic because it's so highly concentrated in sugar. Okay, which means you'll have a lot more inflammation. Where you're having an apple cider vinegar that's going to alkaline, and it's actually a prebiotic. So it actually helps your good gut flora to. It's like food for your good gut flora. So they're not the same thing. Okay?
Yes,
Do
yes, I
sort of
think
like the
you
opposite
answered.
then. Mhm.
Yes,
So
Tony's
now
like
you
pointing it out.
introduce prebiotic instead of probiotic. Charlene, you keep throwing these
I'm
terms.
sorry.
So prebiotic versus probiotic.
Probiotics they're already so it's already it's already flora, it's already microbiome. So you're putting flora, gut flora into your body. A prebiotic helps your body grow its own. Okay, so you really want to have more prebiotics because our gut will grow its own flora. There are millions of strands. And so even when we go out and we take our probiotics, we're taking, only what we have currently researched as the strands that are most likely to have. Not that I'm knocking it, because some of us need to fortify our gut flora, so we should take the probiotics. But the prebiotics, kombucha is a really good one that we should be having
Oh
in
yeah.
order to help the body grow its own flora, and that boosts your immune system and gives you good digestion. And now you see, you're making me put on my dietitian hat when I was supposed to be talking about yoga.
You brought the term up.
As we're talking about the effects of these things, prebiotics, probiotics, alcohol, 3 to 7 shots of tequila. Who is talking? Listen, as we are talking about these things, and the effects that they have on our bodies. We are saying our bodies, but I'm wondering if we can talk a little bit about different types of bodies, different types of gendered bodies, different types where Faith loves talking about different ages or seasoned bodies, younger bodies, but specifically different genders. How does exercise and mental health and all the things that we're talking about affect different genders?
Can we give that to Will? Sorry, Will.
All right. How does it affect different genders? I think exercise in general just kind of reminds you again that you have the power to be in control of something. And yes, we're in control of diet and all we can, to a degree. We have food deserts, right, where you're not able to get to the best food possible. However, exercise is something that can be done in the house and can be done outside. But what I like to think of is, what are the best ways to achieve goals? Because sometimes we go through things and we're just beat down on, whether it be psychologically, or even physically. But accomplishing a goal really reminds you that you're worthy of it. And so it's when I think about it, it's tough for me to actually kind of split it between the two, because I've met people on both sides of the spectrum from both genders where the confidence is just not there. And that can happen from many different things. And also when you feel like you just are not being respected in your space because you're not owning your space properly. And many times being at your peak health, or at least working towards it, you walk around with that. And it is just seen as a shield to many. It is seen as an open invite to many that are looking for giving and extending opportunity. I just think it's one of the best ways to level up yourself. If someone else can hopefully help me out a little bit on how they would see it between two different genders as well. I just think that, strong people are harder to take out, whether it be a sickness, whether it be an unfortunate situation outside, where someone's trying to take advantage of you, just being stronger and more alert. And I think everybody needs that at a certain degree.
I also would just offer that in working with men and women, we'll talk about these two genders, that our metabolisms are different. They are. And so I often have my female clients and students get very frustrated when they see that their male partner or spouse finds it easier to lose weight or to build muscle. And so I have to say, our physiologic makeup is different. Our hormone systems are different. And so we really can't compare in those particular ways. I mean, we certainly can, within our own selves, build ourselves up to a certain strength base. And however, when it comes to things like trying to lose weight or tone, it's best not to try to compare ourselves to another gender in that regard, particularly if you're doing this in partnership with your spouse or with your partner.
I highly agree with that one. And I'm glad you helped me kind of think about that side of it too, because I work with many couples, and 6 weeks in, a couple weeks in, that's what pops up. How come she's getting this or she's doing that? Or this is not that. And it really is that. It really is helping them understand we're different. Absolutely, when it comes to, just like you were saying, losing weight, or a lot of times I'll have guys that come up, they say they want to build muscle. And they have been taking their significant other to the gym and they're doing the same exercises, they're eating the same meals, and it's just not working out. And it really is that first conversation, like, we got to take it back to square one. We're different. We're it's very different. And I believe in all athletics, and like you're saying, with diet as well.
Well, from a nutritional perspective, I'm sorry, Shannon,
You're doing great.
From a nutritional perspective too, we have to remember when we're talking male, female, you need X amount of protein for one, for another. There's various ways that we have to address, what their makeup is going to be from a nutritional standpoint. I'd like to take it a little from the broader perspective though, because we're not just talking we need to talk multi-generational as well, because you're not just talking male, female, you're talking about age difference in general and what's needed for individuals. There is no one fits all. And I don't care if you have two people who are the same weight, same height, same race, same ethnic, came from the same family. They are going to have to be treated individually. And in a class, to take that, I like to take out the comparison component and say, what about you? Look at you, and what do we need to do for you? And that you have to do that yourself. But take it from a higher realm as well, is we have to look at what is the intent for the individual and the goals. And we're taught that, you know, millennials want finances, that baby boomers want to lose weight, you know, and those folks that were before us, the baby boomers, they just they want to get up in the morning and to live effectively. And so the difference is that you have to find out the personal goals of the individual and what their makeup and their constitution is, and then derive for them what's best for them to become their best self. And Audrey, I like the fact that she does kickboxing, you know, and a lot of times it was one time females weren't going to do kickboxing, you know, forget it. We didn't have the stamina to lift over 100 pounds. We couldn't be in the military, you know, and so we have to look at it out of a different lens, not just male, female. I almost forget the male, female part. It's like, what's in it for you? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Somebody help me.
Yeah,
No,
excellent points about that. It's funny how we view one another differently, and just as I think Will mentioned or Charlene mentioned about you know, the female and the male muscle building and things of that nature. And sometimes as females, we're scared of the resistance training, but all the wonderful benefits that it does give us, strengthening our bones and things of that nature. And it helps us to, that's why it's body shaping. It helps us to shape our body. And I said, look at the Michelle Obama arms. You want, you know, she's using her dumbbells and everything. If you want toned arms like that, she's an example. She's not big and husky, but she's an example. And it's funny when you mention Faith about the kickboxing. The high school I used to work at in California, the football coach would come after school I was giving my students a free kickboxing class. And on the off season, he would come and work out, and the football players were teasing him, saying, oh, you're going for that kind of sissy workout, little girl workout with the football, you know. And so he came to me and he said, can you meet me in the gym at 6 a.m. for a workout with the team? I said, oh, sure. You know, they didn't know that I was going to be there. And because some were in my class, but I got there, I'm at 6 a.m. I'm on the other side of the gym and I'm stretching out, you know, warming up. And they walk in, you know, they're thinking they're going to weight train and everything. They walk in, they're like, oh, man. Oh, no, come on. We're working out with her. You gotta be kidding me. You know. And so I put on the music. I had a boom box back then. Put on the music.
Oh, the boom box, yes.
yeah. Ty broke me. So I put on the music. We were doing kicks and jump kicks and, you know, the punches and the hooks all to the music. And I got respect after that. And they said that was one of the hardest workouts, you know, because they were using body parts that they didn't use before. So variety is key, you know. So they were just used to like just the running and the weights, but it was great for them and as I tell the women that I work out with, it's great for your abs, because every time we kick, where our abs are working, because our abs are stabilizing ourselves just as we lift up. So it's a great all around workout. So definitely, you know, it's fun to cross train with, you know, brothers and sisters too.
That's right.
You know, in yoga, that shows up in two ways that stands out. Women, female, talking about men and women, tend to find postures where a degree of upper body strength is required, like the downward facing dog or the plank pose, tend to be more challenging for women.
Yeah.
Whereas men, sitting in what is we call easy pose, sitting cross-legged, Men have narrower pelvises. And so when they sit on the floor, very often their knees are up like this as opposed to their legs. So the
Right.
women have
Yeah.
the openness of the lower body, can sit more comfortably or spread the legs wider if it's a wide-legged stretch. Men, on the other hand, any of those postures that require, the upper body strength, holding your body in place in the plank pose, for example, or chaturanga, are a lot. Men seem to be able to do those postures. So that's what I've noticed about men and women in a class, in a yoga class, that lower body, hip openers, women have that. Upper body strength, men have that one. And so it's good to switch it off. And
Yeah.
I give the women lots of upper body strength poses to do to build up their chest, their shoulder girdles, and the muscles in the arms. And the men being able to sit and allow the hip joints to open a little, not expecting them necessarily to ever be able to sit like a woman, because a woman's pelvis is wider, and for an obvious reason.
So Jana, I need to jump on that. I love you. You just always, bring birth to some other, question that I have or an observation. Um, Again, from a bigger perspective for me as well is I know Shannon, you wanted the male, female, and the gender perspective, but there are more and more, and we don't use the word handicap, we use challenged now. And so even with the fact that the anatomy is different for male and female, and you're right, there's certain things we have to look just beyond the fact that from a gender perspective, they can or cannot do. We have to really hone into the fact of what a person can do, period, right? Because when you have challenged individuals, the worst thing that you can do is put them in a position, and I'm talking to everybody who's listening, never let someone put you in a position that's going to challenge you to what I call break. You should ease yourself into an exercise. What has happened in a lot of places, and I see one question, which is, how do we restart, right? We have people not come back to class because we have pushed them in a way that they cannot adapt to, that they should not be adapting to, and it's not for their best interest. And so well, one thing we have found, and it's not just the male ego anymore, it's ego, period. That means you're right, Audrey. I'm going to break myself down. I am going to do everything they tell me to do. I'm going to sit where I shouldn't be sitting. I'm going to lift what I should not be lifting. I'm going to stretch, and then I'm going to pop something. And then you're going to be out for 2 months and you'll never come back again. So the important thing is for us to understand not just male, female, but again, I keep going back to the individual need for what? What's the goal? What's the objective? And how do we get you there? I'm
Faith,
sorry.
You are, don't apologize. Faith, you are hitting on this note that like we're going to transition right into right now, which is the question. So there are people who are watching, who are watching all of you, and in their bodies and souls and minds, they're like, great. Oh my goodness, I'm about to get the answers to the question. And the questions: how often should I work out? How long should I work out? What kind of exercise should I do? What do I eat? How do I eat? When should I eat? But what you're saying, and I would love for everyone to chime in on this, is that there's no one answer. And what I'm hearing is that the answer is strictly about your body and what your needs are. So can we talk about, because yes, you saw right. We have Karen asking, if your goal is weight loss, how do I restart? If I've gotten off the wagon, how do I restart? And then the other questions, when do I exercise? How do I exercise? What do I do? So just speak to those questions that I'm sure all of you get almost all the time being in this realm.
Yeah.
Well, Charlene's motto is, you do what you can where you're at with what you have. Do what you can, where you're at with what you have. Okay. And life is so wonderful. You can always begin again. The body was designed to move. You are to move every single day. So start moving. And what does that mean? Walk, clean your house. I mean, rigorously clean your house. Just take a walk. Okay. So, but move, make sure that you're moving every single day, several times a day. You know, uh, the Healthy People 2000, they put out I can't, is the FDA, CDC, I don't know who puts out that report every year, I can't remember. CDC. But they're saying that everyone should have at least 150 minutes of active movement a day, whatever that means. Active move. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing cardio, but it's active movement.
Right.
And like Faith said, so in the yoga world, and Jana knows this well too, we do something called yoga for mixed abilities. So, you know, if you look at a yoga journal magazine, you're going to see a skinny person who's putting himself in a pretzel. That's not yoga. That might be her yoga, but it's not everybody's yoga. Okay. And I have, my students are anywhere from 4 years old to 80 years old. And yoga is for everybody. Okay. So you can find a way to adapt and move accordingly. I would just say you have to move every single day and with intention. Okay. With intention. And so we unintentionally sit like this all day. If I'm sitting like this all day, right? Look at my neck. Everything is out of an alignment. And this is 8 hours a day. So take a break where you can sit up. And just by doing that one movement, you just begin to stretch your pectorals, your rhomboids, your triceps, just bring your arms up overhead. Everything gets a good stretch. It doesn't take much. But you have to start moving every day.
I'd like to jump back to the weight loss goal there. And I think also some people have a goal of gaining muscle, a goal of gaining a certain amount of weight. We always think there's steps of like, well, realize where you're at now, where you want to go. What I like to think about is if you were to purchase a plane, right? If you were to purchase a plane, what is the very first investment that you would make? Would it be in shiny wheels? Would it be in the best wings? Would it be in the sweet hat? Or would it be in, right? Or would it be class, like education? You got to learn how to fly the plane, right? If someone comes to me like, yo, I just got this plane. Let's go to California. I'm like, so you took classes, right? Someone taught you how to do this, right? It's like, I'm not going to get into, I don't even want my friend to get in the plane and just try to figure it out, So like, I really think that if you have a goal, you want to get to somebody who hears this on a regular basis. Okay, that's the goal. Mentally, I'm going to funnel you to this recommendation and we're going to start here. Because it's just like climbing a mountain or flying the plane, whatever it is. But climbing the mountain, many times you may be climbing the mountain and you're going through some thick grass and you're just like, I have to do this to get to the top, But if you had chosen to go with a guide, they'd be like, if you had just made a right turn back there, we made a path, there's so many people who have chosen this career and lifestyle of helping people through this process. So there's no reason you should be trying to do it on your own. We have the two most precious commodities I always talk about is time and money, right? A lot of times that's what we think about right before bed. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money, right? And sometimes if you have too much time, I heard got a good laugh on that one. But if you have too much time, sometimes you don't have any money, right? And sometimes when you have too much money, you don't have any time. So it's like these are things we don't want to waste, and the whole weight loss, muscle gain circle can be just that, a circle. And if you're just going in circles, it's such a waste of time. It's such a waste of money. And you end up getting into this mindset of, I got to make this happen no matter what. So I'm going to go to this group fitness class 3 today and 2 tomorrow, and then I'm going to strength train with Will on Friday. Then over the weekend, I'm going to run 30 miles. Like, and it's just, and then the injury happens, you know, because you're not set on a clear path. And it's like, why try to do the oil change yourself when there's people who know how to do it in 5 minutes? They got a whole, you know, there's a whole store. It's like a 5-minute oil change, right? I would take the entire afternoon and then I would give up. You know, like I'd just be like, this
That's
isn't
right.
me.
Exactly.
So my recommendation is just stop wondering and just speak to someone who is invested in your results. You know, not just something you find online, not just clicking around, following a random video. Speak to someone, like
Right.
you know, right?
Yes.
There are people out there who've just chosen this is what we want to do. We want to teach this for the rest of it all. We could do many other things. You can get like $19 an hour working at McDonald's now. I mean, come on, you know. So like, I'm gonna get off of this one, you know. But like, I'm really big on just get you a coach, someone that cares, you know, and you're gonna save a lot of time. You're gonna save so much time. So I'm sorry, that was long, but I love that part of it. You know?
That was good.
No, that was excellent. And I would suggest starting at Will's, brother Will's Facebook page. A lot of good tips on there. And I want to go back to something Faith and Charlene mentioned. Charlene mentioned about being intentional. And sometimes we just exist day to day. And we wonder why, you know, I remember getting questions just because I'm not a personal trainer. I do group exercise, but what I do for my abs, I said, do you ever work out your abs? No, but I just want to lose weight. My abs. So being intentional and thinking about that, but a short story of how a sister had asked Minister Farrakhan one time, how can I learn to love myself more? And what can I focus on? Because like I wrote in my book, Get Fit to Live, Be Your Best You. Everyone's not meant to be a size 2. I was a size 2 when I was 2. Okay. It's not happening anytime soon. So, but we want to feel good about ourselves and be able to go up the stairs and not be winded and, you know, be healthy, because everything feels so much better when we're healthy. We can enjoy watching the movie. We can enjoy doing this, that, and other. But what he told her, he said, take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the center. On one side, write down all the things that you appreciate and love about yourself, your kindness, your generosity, your long leg, whatever. And then some things that on the other side, what are some things that you want to work on? And as you work on those things, you'll love yourself even more, because now you're being intentional with it. And we all love attention, right? If someone, our loved one, pays attention to us, we need to give that attention to ourselves.
Absolutely.
So Shanna, I what I want to do, if you don't mind, and I want you to know I got a piece of paper, right? Okay. Because I wanted to make sure that I brought this piece up, and you know how you forgot more than you're gonna learn. And then what I want to do is to yield to Jana for her piece of it, knowing that we're running out of time. So I'm not even going to worry about mine. But with Karen's question, what I did go back to do is to look at the trans theoretical model, because I do realize that it's not just fitness, but it's change in general. And the change in general is a mindset. And so you're right. Everybody has talked about right. But the 5 steps that we look at in trans theoretical is this. It says we had this pre-contemplation mode. So the phase 1 is pre-contemplation. And what that means is I'm saying to myself, I don't have a problem. Okay. So I don't have to deal with it. The second phase is contemplation, which is I'm thinking about it. And that's what we do in physical. We say, okay, you know, I didn't know I was that far overweight. Now I am a little bit overweight. So I'm going to get to it next year. I'm going to get everything straight and right to get it done. All right. So we start thinking about it. The third phase is preparation, because then you have to recognize, now I'm ready. Not only can I not get in my clothes, not only can I not breathe right, but I'm ready to do something. And so I want you to know that this is common. It's not that you're the only one who figures that you cannot, you're in a rut and you can't get out of it. It's a cycle that everybody goes through whenever we're getting ready to go through change of some sort. And so we got to change back into getting physical. Then we go into action, which means now I'm going to do something. I'm going to go to class. Now that first phase means, like Will says, I'm going to go to class. And it was good. I can get back into it. Fine. All right. This was good. I'm going to one class. I'll be back next month because I got too much work to do. At this point, I'm really getting into it. I'm saying, all right, now I'm ready. I'm going to start 3 days a week, not 5, but 3. And I'm going to do something. And then the last phase is maintenance, which means I'm done it. I'm doing it. I'm engaged in it. I am invested in it. So please don't anybody ever feel bad that you did get stuck in a rut. Okay. Or that you weren't ready, or that you did the pandemic 30. All right. It started as the pandemic 15, and then we actually statistically it went to 29. We just rounded up to 30 because most people came rolling out of their rooms, all right, after a year and a half of being in. So the best thing is just get yourself mentally there, Karen and everybody else. Decide I'm going to go at it. I'm going to start slow so I can get engaged into it. And then all of a sudden, and make it fun. Just make it fun.
Faith, you had two. There are the last two things. One, the action and the doing, right? Were those the
Yes.
last two? So
Yes.
I want to just like remind people that out of that list, if you are sitting here watching this program, if you made it all the way, you found the invitation, you clicked on the link, and you're sitting watching this program right now, what phase do you think that those people would be in, Faith?
Contemplation.
Contemplation.
I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about, you really haven't done, I mean, you're going further than you were, but I'm just contemplating. I really want to get engaged.
And you have an opportunity. Like if you're watching this and you're thinking about it, you have an opportunity with Faith right now. And Jana, a little later, you have an opportunity to actually begin to start doing something about it. So what you're going to see.
So do you really want to do that? It's 8:32.
Oh, oh. I got you. So what you're going to start seeing is a link that's popping up in Facebook or popping up on YouTube. If you see that link and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to do it. I am going to take the first step today, right now. I sound like I'm selling something. I am. I'm selling your happiness to yourself. So if you are thinking about, okay, I want to be involved, then take that link, and we're going to have about just the first 5 people who click on that link. You're going to be invited in, and shortly you will have a moment to do some Zumba, to use your body exactly in the way that you need to. And then we will have a similar experience with Jana, so that you are melding you've done your body, and we'll sit with our minds for a little bit. But as people are figuring out, am I going to take that leap? Am I going to join? Am I going to join? I want just to talk about a plan. How does one start planning, right? So say we've done all the things, we're thinking about it. Now we don't even know where to go. So just give us some, and this is for everyone, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it is high impact, whether it is building muscle. How do people think about and begin to plan how they're going to, I don't want to use the word attack, but move through or bring in these things into their lifestyle?
Well, the first thing I mentioned just real quick is to make it into a habit. Make it into a habit for your lifestyle. You can incorporate it into something that you already do. If you already have a habit of getting up in the morning and doing some stretches, now do some squats, do some push-ups, something. If you're brushing your teeth and you're like, okay, I'm going to do some toe raises, some calf raises or whatever. But there's so much power in creating a habit when you make it a way of life that it becomes automatic. And I know Tim Ferriss, I think it's Tim Ferriss who talks about habits and developing habits, but there's power in that habit if you can incorporate it as a way of life. I always make a point that if I'm on social media and I have a habit of that and I'm scrolling for 30 minutes, you mean to tell me I don't have 30 minutes I can exercise? Come on now, so it's something I would say getting started with something that you enjoy. So not something, oh, I'm going to go into CrossFit, I'm going to go into powerlifting, and that's not something, but it sounds like, but if you always enjoy tennis, if you always are just taking a walk, one thing we didn't mention was how getting outside, you get vitamin D. There's so many vitamins and minerals that you get from just the sun and the fresh air and what it does to your psyche and your mood and everything, and resetting your body clock and everything. So just doing something that you enjoy and make it a habit.
It takes 40 days to develop a habit. That's what I learned in a yoga teacher training in India, that if we practice something consistently for 40 days, that is how, if you're wanting to develop a habit, you got to do it consistently for 40 days. And you will be more likely to continue to do it. But if you just do something for a week or 2 weeks, that's not a habit. A habit is something you don't even think about. A habit is something you don't even think about. You just do it automatically. It's almost, it's your go-to. And we have a lot of habits. We don't, almost everything we do is a habit, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously is the key. But what you do is a habit. Everything you do is a habit. But if you want to cultivate new habits that you are introducing into your life, try practicing it every day for 40 days and see where that leads you.
Real quickly, I like to speak on those who are trying to set up their goal in the first place, because sometimes, we want to create this habit, but we don't know what is the habit. What should we do for 40 days? And so for some people, you got to sit and think, where are you at now? But then also, where are you trying to go? And I don't know if you've heard the quote where it says, shoot for the stars, so no matter what you end up, shoot for the moon, so no matter what you end up amongst the stars, right? And it's about setting a realistic goal. It's not a goal that is not attainable, because what's that going to do for you when you it was almost as if like that was just not attainable. So how can you then be upset when you did not attain that goal? And so this then comes down to making sure that you're setting appropriate goals. And then also, once the goals are there, figuring out how to get there. And so that's when you then can start figuring out, like, okay, cool, this is when I can start doing my calf raises during my brushing my teeth. This is perfect. And then this is when I can do this and this and this. And I'm going to do this now for 40 days because it's going to get me to the goal. But if what you're doing is not getting you towards your goal, like if you're in there busting your tail in the gym and doing all this work, but you haven't spent any time thinking about the holistic, like we're talking, and you're not looking at your nutrition or your rest, that's 40 days of almost pain, and you're almost going the opposite way, right? And so this kind of goes back to finding somebody who can lead the way, because if you're going to spend 40 days going in a direction, I would think you would want to be going in the right direction. You ever driving somewhere and you miss the exit? And then you're like, I got 6 miles to the next exit. It's like, man, I wish I just listened to navigation. It's like, and if it's me, the navigation is playing. It's like, please turn, and it's just like I still miss it. But it's really that. It's like it's really just getting that direction. And then something I really think is good when things are stressing you out, because a lot of things that stress you out can hold you from your goals. So if you really want to figure out how to deal with that, you just write down everything that's stressing you out. You circle everything that you have control over. You X out things that you have no control over, and you focus on what you circle. We can't always control our environment, but we can absolutely control our response to it. And so that understanding there helps you understand where to go for those 40 days. And then when you have a habit, you accomplish it, you remember how incredible you are, you do it for another 40. And then at that 80 days in, you got people following you. People who are making fun of you, who are like, look at you getting up early to go walk on that treadmill. After seeing that consistency and seeing your light and life change and energy change, they're going to be on the treadmill right next to you. They might even meet you there.
Absolutely.
You never know who are watching you.
Yes. That's absolutely right. So we have time to do this space, to be in this space, and to dance a little. Now, people, I know people were like, not me, I'm not going to get on stage, but I don't know what you're doing. I think that what you are doing is you are ready to be involved with Faith as far as dancing and whatnot. And I'm hoping that what you're going to do is follow Faith as she leads us through a little bit of Zumba right in your space. So do what you can, move your body, do the things that feel good to you, and then we'll come back and we'll do something else with Jana. Faith, are you ready to lead us through some Zumba?
I hope I am. Let's see if we got this set up right. You know how we can always mess up technology-wise. All right, do I have 5 people with me? Let's see if I get this set up first.
You're, just so you know, you're going to be here leading us on screen, full face, all alone, solo, because you are a strong person.
All right. Did you hear that music that I just had on? Did you hear it? Let's see.
Yes.
All right.
You can hear it.
All right. Okay, so here I am. It's just me. Whoever's with me, here we go. Now, with Zumba, it's just fun. It's a dancing. Of course, it goes back to a long, I'm not even going to give you the background of it, but the thing is to keep moving. And when you keep moving, you might get out of step. So just follow me. If you can't hear me, then just watch what I'm doing. My job is to indeed help you get to the next step. So here it is. And I've shortened it down. It's only about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Here we go. All right. And you've heard this one on TV. All right. So you're making movements like this. Take it up. And here we go. Up. Take it back and forward. There you go. Here we go. With hips. Come on, Karen. Notice you're moving everything. And it's a clap. And front clap. Got it? Breathing. Nothing gonna take me now. If the sky is open, then let me fall. Let heaven carry me to kingdom come. Hips. Let go. Hips. Let go. Hips. Let go. Hips. The time has come and And clap. Front clap. Come on, Karen. Other side. Woo! Yeah. Here's a change. Guitar.
I can't play guitar.
Yes, you can. It's an artificial one.
You can hear me too.
Other side. And have that heel going. And it's a clap. Front clap. Hips out. Other side. Front. There you go. Good job. And you move. Thanks, Jana.
You did it.
Please take it.
All right, let's get this cut off. There we go.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to point out that what a wonderful moment we had where we had you, Faith, doing everything, right? You were just talking about this. Everyone was talking about this, where you have to start where you are, right? And so we had you doing everything. Then we had Karen doing the things that Karen can do. And then we had Jana doing the things that Jana can do, right?
Exactly.
So we had different levels and different just perspectives. And the thing that we're talking about today is movement and feeling good about you, whether that is doing high impact, whether that is sitting and contemplating, meditating, whether it's going out into the garden. These are the things you're talking about, right?
There you go. And the fact is, with that, you're just having fun and you're moving.
Yes.
You can do it with any song that you like. So one of the things I was going to say before we cut off on the last section is, my theme is this. Listen, that you used to hear, if at first you don't succeed, try and try and try. Forget that. If at first you don't succeed, learn the reason why. Then you don't have to try and try and try. So if you don't like the exercises, if you don't like that particular genre, pick something that interests you.
Right. Absolutely. So we're going to take this and move a little bit. We're transitioning from what Zumba to what Jana is bringing to us. So if Jana can come and join us on screen. Thank you, Jana. And just tell us about a little bit about what you're going to do and take us through it.
So I'm going to talk about and lead you through a practice of one of my favorite things, which is to do nothing, doing nothing. So what do I mean by doing nothing? Of course, cessation of bodily movements, sitting still, being still, in stillness and quiet. It's easier said than done because there's a part of doing nothing that makes nothing very hard to do. And that part of doing nothing that is so difficult is to stop thinking. Can you stop thinking? So I'll ask you to think about this. How many thoughts have you had today? Roughly. Any idea, or have there been so many, they're incalculable? How many thoughts have you had today? And thinking is doing something. Thinking triggers your internal responses to the world. Thinking, for example, did I forget? Oh, what if? I'm remembering a time when, fill in the blank. You're fantasizing, you're analyzing, you're criticizing, all in your internal world. You don't even have to speak a word. you're working. The mind is working. And when that mind is working and overworking, it leads to things that we call worry, which can turn into insomnia. Most people who have difficulty sleeping, falling asleep, sustaining sleep, what do they say? I just couldn't shut my mind down. So thinking is quite active. And when you are bodily still, but yet your mind is moving, you're doing something. And that doing something triggers responses in you. You can sit and think and become afraid, become stressed out. You can sit and think and maybe calm yourself down, but you're doing something. But what if you weren't doing any of that? The mind is not moving at all. And the benefit of that, why do you want to not think? Because the brain is the organ of the mind. The brain is the organ of the mind. And the brain needs to rest too. You know, the brain is a conglomeration of tissues and blood and nerve endings and electrons, and a lot of activity goes on in the brain. That organ needs to rest. And one way you can put it to rest is to not think. So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to lead you through a practice, and then we're just going to sit. I'll tell you right off, you're not going to get this the first time you do it if you have a very active mind. It takes practice. Practice is the key to many of these contemplative approaches. Practice is the key to yoga, for example. Practice is the key to everything. So don't expect to get it. There's no instantaneous result here. Just give it a try. So one of the ways I want to bring you into a state to slow your thinking is using what we talked about at the beginning of this event, which was the breath. So get in a comfortable position, seated with both feet on the floor. Try to align the back of your body, your spine, in your best alignment so that you're sitting up straight. You don't have your back resting against a chair. You're not slumped back. You're sitting up in your best alignment of your spine. That means you feel one vertebra of the spine stacked upon the other. Shoulders relaxed down. Arms resting comfortably against the body. And your palms right on top of the thighs, not holding. Hands are relaxed, fingers are relaxed, and the palms of the hands are soft. Take a deep breath into your nostrils and exhale through the nostrils. Now here's the practice, and you can use this to begin to slow. Use your breath. Bring your hands together right in front of your heart. So let me explain what you're going to do first, and then we'll do it 3 times. As you inhale, you'll lift your arms up overhead with your palms together, taking a deep breath in. As you start lifting your arms up, I want you to start squeezing your pelvic floor. That means you're going to squeeze down there like you had to go to the bathroom really bad, like you had to pee real bad. You're going to squeeze that. And then you'll stretch your arms up. You'll squeeze and hold your pelvic floor and hold in the breath. And then when I cue you to exhale, you'll bring your arms and hands down, exhaling that breath fully until your hands are back in front of your heart. And then you'll have no choice but to take a really deep breath in and out. We're going to do that 3 times. So palms together, hands right in front of the heart. Keep your body soft and relaxed. Now, through the nostrils, mouths are closed. As you inhale, begin to lift your arms up, taking a deep breath in. Now squeeze your pelvic floor. Stretch your arms overhead. Hold that breath in and hold that squeeze tight. Hold it. Hold the breath. Keep stretching the arms. Hold it. Hold it. Now begin to exhale. Let the breath ease out of your nostrils. Float the hands back down. Let them land right in front of the heart. Soften. Take a deep breath. Do that again. Inhale. Arms go up, up, up. Start squeezing your pelvic floor. Stretch the arms. Nice and long. Squeeze. Hold the breath. Hold it. Squeeze and hold. Squeeze and hold. Hold it. Hold it. Now release. Let the breath ease out. Bring the arms down. Let the hands land right in front of the heart. Soften your body. Take a deep breath. Do that one more time. Inhaling, up, 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 arms up, up, up. Start squeezing your pelvic floor. Hold it tight. Stretch the arms. Hold the breath. Squeeze, squeeze and hold. Stretch, squeeze and hold. Squeeze and hold. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now release. Release. Let the breath out. Don't inhale yet. Let your hands land right in front of your heart. Now soften. Take a deep breath. Now rest your palms on top of your thighs. Sit and feel your breath. Are you thinking or just breathing? Just notice. How do you feel? Allow your natural breath to flow. And you could sit with your breath in quiet, in stillness, being still, just breathing. And if your mind moves a lot, if you have a lot of thoughts, rather than clinging to the thoughts, just watch them. And you'll see how thoughts come and go, just like clouds moving across the sky. How many thoughts have you had today? Quiet the mind. Let the brain relax. And that's a practice you can give to yourself every day.
Thank you so much, Jana. Thank you very, very much. We can bring everybody back. I know if you are in the chat and you experienced both of these things, yeah, so we have lots of people. I would love for you to tell us in the chat what you experienced, how it affected you, if you've ever done either Zumba or breathing, really doing nothing. And Jana, what is the title of that? If someone is looking for that experience in a classroom setting, or even in a how breathing setting, looking it up on YouTube or looking to be
That's
guided through.
I mean, basically, it's a practice in pranayama. Pranayama, which is the breath practices of yoga. And there's a whole system of just pranayama. And that one, though, I just call doing nothing. Do nothing. Do nothing. And do nothing just do nothing for 3 minutes a day. When I'm teaching this, don't be ambitious. Can you do nothing for 3 minutes? Because you're geared to do something all the time.
Mhm.
And it's not easy to do nothing. And by nothing, not only are you not doing nothing with your body, you're not thinking either. Give the brain a rest. Give the brain a rest.
Excellent. Excellent.
I don't know where you're going to find that. Email me.
Janice says, Zumba pumped me up. Yoga settled my spirit. I'm ready to go to bed. I feel relaxed. I enjoyed both segments. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Jana. Excellent job, everybody. So we're coming to the end. I'd like just to say a thank you to all of you guests that have spoken. Thank you very, very much for all of your time and your insight. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Charlene, Audrey, Reverend Dr. E. Faith Bell. Thank you very much for being here. It means a lot. And we have so many people who have gained so much from this experience and this conversation. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us here. The thing is that these wisdom, wellness, and wealth events are once a month. And if you enjoyed this, then you can come back next month, Wednesday, November 17th, for the joy of making, how to do what you love. So please join us for that. And in the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful, relaxed evening. Thank you to our panelists again for their insights. And thank you to Ikrama and Karen Freeman for gathering us together through the Pieces Collective. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you for a great job.
Of course. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Of course. We will see you all next month. Take care of yourselves. Good night.
Good night.